Betrayed by everyone? Good. Now you're finally free. Listen carefully. Loyalty is a currency most men spend too cheaply. You gave trust, you gave effort, you gave time. And what did they give you? Excuses, disrespect, silence when you needed steel. Understand this. Betrayal is not your destruction, it is your initiation. When they walk away, when they doubt you, when they underestimate you, they hand you a weapon. Isolation sharpens instinct. Pain clarifies vision. And humiliation? That forges discipline. You are not abandoned. You are being refined. Empires are not built in crowded rooms. They are built in silence, in cold mornings, in nights where you swallow rage and turn it into strategy, while they sleep peacefully, believing you are finished. Let them, because the man who has nothing left to lose becomes untouchable. Right now, I want you to type in the comments, "Betrayal built me." Own it, claim it, brand it into your identity. This is Machiavellian mode, and today you stop being the wounded victim and start becoming the architect of your ruthless comeback. Number 1. The death of naivete. The first thing you must understand is this. You were not betrayed because you were weak. You were betrayed because you were predictable. You believed in fairness in a world that worships leverage. You assumed loyalty where there was only convenience. That illusion had to die. And now it has. Good. Naivete is a luxury for men who never intend to rule. You, however, are done playing harmless. When everyone turned on you, what they really did was expose the invisible contracts you were living by, unspoken expectations that nobody else agreed to honor. Machiavelli warned that men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, deceivers, and driven by self-interest. Not because they are evil villains, but because survival commands it. Once you accept this without bitterness, you gain clarity, and clarity is power. The pain you felt was your ego shattering, not your destiny collapsing. Let that sink in. You were attached to an image of brotherhood, partnership, romance, alliance, whatever form it took. That image blinded you. Now your eyes are open. Comment right now, "I see clearly now." Because the moment you see people as they are, not as you wish them to be, you become dangerous. Stoicism teaches you to master your reactions. Machiavellianism teaches you to master the board. Together, they forge a man who neither begs nor explodes. He observes, he calculates, he adapts. Betrayal stripped you of innocence, but it gifted you awareness. And awareness is the first brick in your empire. From this moment forward, you expect self-interest. You anticipate shifts. You move quietly. No more blind trust. No more emotional contracts. Only strategy. Only discipline. Only forward motion. Number 2. Isolation is your strategic advantage. Now you stand alone, and that is precisely where your advantage begins. Most men fear isolation because it forces them to confront themselves without distraction, without applause, without validation. But you are not most men. Isolation is not abandonment. It is a strategic position. When you are alone, there are no leaking conversations, no divided loyalties, no emotional negotiations diluting your focus. Silence becomes your war room. Every hour you spend without noise is an hour your competitors waste seeking approval. Understand this with ruthless clarity. Dependence is vulnerability. The more you needed them, the more leverage they had over you. Now that need is gone, and with it, their control evaporates. This is the moment you reclaim your internal authority. Stoicism demands that you detach from what you cannot control, other people's loyalty, their opinions, their sudden disappearances. Machiavellian strategy demands that you convert that detachment into calculated action. While they gossip about your fall, you design your ascent. While they assume you are broken, you are rebuilding with reinforced foundations. Comment right now, "Silence is my weapon," because that is what this phase becomes. In silence, you audit your weaknesses without ego. You identify where you were too open, too trusting, too available. You correct it. You do not announce growth. You demonstrate it later. Isolation sharpens perception. You begin to see patterns in behavior, subtle shifts in tone, micro-expressions of envy you once ignored. You realize that many smiles were reconnaissance missions, many compliments were surveillance, and now you no longer perform for anyone. You move for yourself. There is a masculine stillness that emerges in solitude, a grounded presence that does not chase, does not explain, does not seek reassurance. That presence unsettles people, because a man comfortable alone cannot be manipulated with threats of exclusion. He cannot be pressured with fear of missing out. He cannot be bribed with shallow praise. He becomes internally anchored. And when you are anchored, you are immovable. This is your recalibration phase. You refine your body. You discipline your mind. You build skills in obscurity. Let them underestimate the quiet man. History has shown repeatedly that the one who withdraws to strategize returns with precision. Your empire does not require a crowd at the beginning. It requires vision, control, and relentless execution. Alone, you are no longer distracted by drama. Alone, you become lethal. Number 3. Master the mask, control the game. Now that you are alone and recalibrated, you must learn the art that separates rulers from pawns, the mask. Raw emotion is a liability. Transparent intention is a weakness. If people can read you, they can predict you. And if they can predict you, they can control you. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Appear virtuous, speak with measured calm, but calculate beneath the surface. The world does not reward the honest man. It rewards the strategic one. This does not mean you become chaotic or reckless. It means you become deliberate. You choose what to reveal. You choose what to conceal. You understand that perception is currency and you spend it wisely. When you were betrayed, you showed your cards too early. You exposed loyalty without testing it. You revealed ambition without securing leverage. Never again. From this moment forward, you operate in layers. What they see is composure. What they feel is restraint. What they never see is the silent evaluation happening behind your eyes. Comment now, I control the narrative, because that is your new reality. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending yourself. The man who constantly clarifies his intentions signals insecurity. Instead, you let mystery work for you. You answer questions with calm brevity. You reveal progress only after it is irreversible. Dark psychology is not about manipulation for chaos. It is about understanding influence so you are never influenced. People project their fears and desires onto silence. When you speak less, they fill in the gaps. When you react less, they grow uncertain, and uncertainty shifts power. Stoicism fortifies your emotional restraint. You do not erupt when provoked. You do not seek validation when ignored. You remain centered. That stillness unnerves weaker minds because they cannot extract information from you. They cannot detect your next move. Meanwhile, you are studying theirs. You observe who seeks attention, who craves approval, who changes tone depending on status in the room. Information is leverage, and leverage is protection. This is not about paranoia, it is about awareness. The man building an empire cannot afford naivete disguised as kindness. You can be courteous without being accessible. You can be respectful without being transparent. You can be calm while preparing decisive action. The mask is not falsehood, it is discipline. It is the refusal to let your internal state be dictated by external chaos. It is the ability to smile while calculating risk, to nod while assessing threat, to collaborate while maintaining exit routes. Once you master this, betrayal becomes nearly impossible, because you no longer give anyone full access to your core. Trust becomes tiered. Access becomes earned. Information becomes rationed. And slowly, people begin to sense something different about you. They cannot label it, but they feel it. You are no longer emotionally available for exploitation. You are no longer impulsive. You are controlled, strategic, patient. And patience, combined with precision, is terrifying. This is where your comeback transforms from emotional recovery into psychological dominance. You are not reacting anymore. You are positioning. You are not seeking loyalty anymore. You are commanding respect. And the game is finally being played on your terms. Number 4, ruthless self-discipline, the forge of power. Now we arrive at the stage most men avoid because it demands blood, not words. Strategy without discipline is fantasy. Intelligence without execution is decoration. If you truly intend to build an empire alone, then ruthless self-discipline becomes your religion, not motivation, not temporary hype. Discipline, the kind that does not negotiate with your mood, the kind that operates whether you feel inspired or exhausted. When everyone betrayed you, they exposed a hidden truth. You relied on external structures for momentum. You fed off collaboration, validation, shared goals. Now you stand without those crutches. Good, because an emperor cannot depend on applause to function. He depends on standards. Every morning you wake up, you either reinforce your authority over yourself or you surrender it. There is no neutral. Stoicism teaches you that comfort is a distraction from virtue. Machiavellian philosophy teaches you that power belongs to the prepared. Combine them and you become relentless. You train your body not for aesthetics, but for dominance over impulse. You sharpen your mind not for debate, but for strategic clarity. You cut distractions without ceremony. Weak habits must die. Late nights scrolling. Emotional venting to people who secretly enjoy your frustration. Indulgences that numb your edge. Remove them. Replace them with systems. Wake up at the same hour. Execute tasks before entertainment. Finish what you start, over and over again. Comment now. Discipline is my edge, because that edge separates the betrayed from the victorious. Here is the brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. And that realization should electrify you. When you internalize that your future depends entirely on your structure, you stop waiting. You stop hoping someone will recognize your potential. You build it in silence. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates inevitability. The man who shows up every day, who refines his craft while unseen, becomes impossible to ignore over time. Meanwhile, those who betrayed you reveal their own weakness. They rely on groups, on trends, on social comfort. You rely on routine and execution, and routine is undefeated. Understand the psychological shift happening here. When you control your habits, you control your identity. When you control your identity, you control your trajectory. This is how you become untouchable, not through aggression, but through consistency so cold it feels mechanical. You do not chase revenge. Revenge is emotional. You chase superiority. Superiority is strategic. Every workout becomes a vote for resilience. Every completed task becomes a brick in your fortress. Every resisted temptation becomes reinforcement of your authority over self. The world tests men constantly. Invitations to waste time, opportunities to complain, moments to indulge ego. You decline them quietly. You remain focused. Masculine stoicism is not suppression. It is direction. You redirect anger into output. You redirect loneliness into skill acquisition. You redirect doubt into preparation. Slowly, something terrifying begins to form. Your confidence stops being loud. It becomes stable, rooted, non-negotiable. You no longer seek approval because your evidence is internal. You have proof. You put in the work. You built the structure. And once discipline is embedded, betrayal loses its sting entirely. Why? Because you are no longer dependent on external loyalty to sustain internal momentum. You have constructed a self-governing system, an empire within before an empire without. And when a man governs himself completely, he becomes extraordinarily difficult to defeat. Remember this, power is not seized in dramatic moments. It is accumulated in private rituals repeated daily. So you commit, not for weeks, not for months, for years, quietly, relentlessly, without theatrics, without announcements. Let them think you disappeared. Let them believe you are ordinary. Meanwhile, you are forging steel where they expected ashes. This is the forge, this is the transformation, and once forged, steel does not apologize for its edge. Number 5. Emotional detachment, the art of becoming untouchable. Now we step into the territory that separates disciplined men from dominant men. Emotional detachment, not coldness for the sake of cruelty, not numbness born from trauma, controlled detachment, intentional distance, the ability to feel without being ruled by feeling. When you were betrayed, it was not just the act that hurt you, it was your attachment to what you believed should have happened. Expectations are silent contracts, and when others violate them, you suffer. But here is the ruthless truth. Expectations are self-imposed vulnerabilities. The moment you expect loyalty, appreciation, reciprocity, you hand over leverage. And leverage in the wrong hands becomes a weapon against you. So you must evolve. You must become the man who engages fully but depends on nothing. Stoicism teaches that your peace must never hinge on another person's behavior. Machiavellian insight teaches that emotional predictability makes you exploitable. Combine them and you become unreadable. That unreadability is power. When praise does not inflate you and criticism does not destabilize you, people lose the ability to steer you. They cannot bait you into reaction. They cannot manipulate you with guilt. You observe, you process, you respond only if it serves your strategy. Comment now. I am emotionally sovereign, because sovereignty is exactly what this is. Emotional sovereignty means you no longer chase closure or demand explanations. You stop seeking justice in every slight because your energy is too valuable. Every emotional reaction costs clarity. Every argument costs time. You adopt selective engagement. Access to your enthusiasm and vulnerability becomes earned. You remain centered. You study emotional triggers, your own first. You identify what makes you defensive or validation-seeking, and you neutralize it through awareness. Once neutralized, others cannot pull those strings. Then you observe patterns in others. Who reacts to status? Who fears rejection? Who seeks dominance? Information becomes armor. Masculine stoicism does not suppress pain. It transforms it into insight. You acknowledge the hurt of betrayal, but you refuse to let it dictate your behavior. You accept that people act in alignment with incentives, not ideals. That acceptance dissolves resentment. Without resentment clouding your mind, you operate with precision. The emotionally detached man is not heartless, he is self-governed. He walks away from disrespect without drama. He ends alliances without spectacle. Silence becomes his boundary. Composure becomes his shield. Over time, people notice you cannot be provoked. They test you. You remain steady. They attempt re-entry. You evaluate, not react. You assess patterns over promises. Emotional detachment sharpens ambition. Free from petty conflict, you gain bandwidth for strategy and expansion. And the most powerful shift happens quietly. You stop fearing loss. If someone leaves, you remain intact. If someone betrays, you adapt. You are not desperate for connection or revenge. You are focused on elevation. Comment once more. Untouchable by design. Because that is what you are building. Foundations of control, stability, and command. This is the turning point. You no longer operate from wounded ego. You operate from controlled intent. You increase your worth systematically and relentlessly. And when emotional detachment is mastered, betrayal loses its power. It becomes a lesson, a filter, a refining fire. You move forward sharper, harder to manipulate, harder to shake. This is how a man becomes untouchable, by refusing to let the world dictate his internal state. Number 6. Strategic ruthlessness. When mercy becomes a liability. Now we enter the stage most men avoid. Strategic ruthlessness, not cruelty, not chaos. Ruthlessness guided by outcome. When you were betrayed, you hesitated. You gave extra chances. You tolerated subtle disrespect to preserve harmony. That hesitation cost you. Here is the hard truth. Unnecessary mercy in competitive environments invites exploitation. Machiavelli warned that a ruler must learn how not to be good when circumstances demand it. This is not evil. It is boundary intelligence. If you are building an empire alone, sentiment cannot override structure. You must know when to cooperate and when to cut access immediately. calmly, decisively. Strategic ruthlessness is not emotional revenge. It is enforced consequence. People respect patterns of consequence, not speeches. If someone violates your standards and nothing changes, you teach them how to treat you. If someone undermines you and you respond with endless explanation, you weaken your own authority. Ruthlessness means that once a boundary is crossed, the response is swift and measured. Access reduced. Opportunities removed. Distance established. No drama, just adjustment. Comment now, my standards are enforced. Because standards without enforcement are illusions. Masculine stoicism ensures you deliver consequence without emotional display. You do not rage, you act. Silence becomes the signal. Efficiency becomes the message. Unpredictability, intolerance maintains power. If people know you will always forgive, they calculate against you. If they know misalignment carries real cost, they move carefully. You are not unpredictable in values, only in how much you will tolerate. That distinction protects you. Ruthlessness also applies inward. You eliminate excuses. Fatigue does not dictate action. Doubt does not dictate compromise. Comfort does not dictate growth. Mercy toward your own weakness erodes discipline. The empire requires precision. Precision demands sacrifice. Every decision filters through one question. Does this strengthen my position? If not, it is removed. Nostalgia does not grant permanent access to your future. Alignment does. Over time, people sense the shift. You are not easily persuaded, not easily guilted. Negotiations become cleaner because your boundaries are clear. You no longer see yourself as betrayed. You see yourself as recalibrated. You seek elevation, not revenge. And elevation built on enforced standards creates a structure that cannot be easily undermined. Strategic ruthlessness is not harshness. It is protection. It is clarity. It is power applied with restraint. Number 7. The architecture of influence. Building power that outlives betrayal. Now that you have mastered discipline, detachment, and strategic ruthlessness, you ascend to the level of influence. Power alone is survival. Influence is expansion. An empire built in isolation must eventually extend outward, but this time you expand with structure, not blind trust. Influence is psychological gravity. It pulls others in without you chasing them. Its foundation is value combined with restraint. When access is rare, presence becomes powerful. Scarcity increases perceived worth. That is not manipulation, it is human nature. So you refine depth instead of broadcasting noise. You build skill relentlessly. You produce results consistently. You speak with precision. Influence begins internally. The moment you require agreement to feel confident, you surrender authority. Stoicism anchors you. Execution validates you. Machiavellian strategy sharpens perception. You curate what is visible. You reveal outcomes, not raw process. You let strength be seen while calculation remains hidden. Influence is architecture. Every relationship is either a bridge or a liability. You test alignment through time. You reward consistency. You distance yourself from chaos without drama. Comment now, I move with calculated presence. Because presence, when controlled, becomes a weapon. The composed man who observes more than he speaks creates tension. Tension breeds curiosity. Curiosity builds attention, and managed attention becomes influence. But you do not seek it for ego, you build it for insulation. When your name signals reliability and strategic clarity, opportunities move toward you. When your standards are known, manipulation decreases. People adapt around your frame. That is real authority. Dark psychology reveals that most people are driven by status, belonging, recognition, and security. When you understand these incentives, you stop reacting emotionally to behavior. You position yourself as a source of structure. Clear standards attract stable alliances, yet you never forget betrayal. Influence does not mean dependence. It means controlled expansion. You collaborate without clinging. You delegate but verify. Trust is layered, professional alignment first. Proven consistency next. Loyalty under pressure last. Few reach that level, and that is intentional. Your empire is modular. If one piece fails, the structure remains. Silence amplifies this power. You do not overexpose your plans. You do not respond to every challenge. Restraint increases leverage. People sense stability before you speak. Reputation precedes you. Authority becomes assumed. Still, expansion invites resistance. Competitors test boundaries. Former allies reappear. Opportunists circle. You respond with analysis, not emotion. Does this strengthen positioning? Does it increase autonomy? Every move reinforces your frame. Comment again. My influence is intentional. Because randomness erodes authority, precision builds it. You communicate with clarity, not charisma. Over time, loyalty forms around consistency and value. But standards remain firm. Popularity never overrides structure. The final layer is long-term thinking. You consider second-order consequences. You align with durability, not excitement. You are no longer reacting to betrayal. You are building something that renders betrayal irrelevant. Independence combined with influence creates inevitability, and inevitability is power sustained. Number 8. Absolute leverage, turning power into dominance. Now we reach the stage where influence matures into leverage, and leverage matures into dominance. Influence earns attention. Leverage controls outcomes. If you have followed this path correctly, you are no longer the man reacting to betrayal. You are the man calculating advantage, and advantage is everything. The world does not move on emotion. It moves on incentives. Whoever controls incentives controls behavior. This is where Machiavellian philosophy becomes razor sharp. You must understand what others need before they fully understand it themselves. Security, status, access, opportunity, protection, recognition. Every individual, every group, every alliance is driven by a hierarchy of desires. When you identify those desires accurately, you position yourself at the intersection, not as a servant, as a gatekeeper. Leverage is never loud. It does not threaten. It does not boast. It simply exists in the background, undeniable. When people know you provide value they cannot easily replace, the balance shifts. They measure their actions more carefully. They negotiate more respectfully. They calculate the cost of crossing you. That calculation is dominance without confrontation. Comment now. I am the leverage, because that is the transformation. You no longer beg for seats at tables. You build tables others request to sit at, and you control the terms of entry. But leverage requires preparation. It requires assets, skills that are rare, networks that are layered, information that is current. Discipline ensures you continue refining these assets daily. Emotional detachment ensures you do not misuse them impulsively. Strategic ruthlessness ensures you enforce boundaries around them. Together, these elements create a symmetry, and asymmetry wins conflicts before they begin. Consider this. The man who depends on one income source is vulnerable. The man who depends on one relationship is vulnerable. The man who depends on one skill is vulnerable. Vulnerability invites pressure. Pressure invites betrayal. So you diversify. Income streams, competencies, connections. You construct optionality. Optionality is silent power. When you can walk away without collapsing, you negotiate from strength. When you are not desperate for a deal, a partnership, or validation, your posture changes. That change is visible even if unspoken. People sense when you do not need them, and needlessness commands respect. Dark psychology teaches that scarcity and uncertainty heighten perceived value. You apply this carefully. You do not oversaturate your presence. You do not reveal every capability at once. You escalate strategically. When necessary, you demonstrate capacity. Then, you retract. This rhythm maintains authority. It prevents familiarity from eroding respect. Familiarity, unchecked, breeds casual disrespect, so you manage exposure. You remain composed. You let results speak more than promises. Over time, patterns form around you. Patterns of competence, patterns of consequence, patterns of consistency, and patterns shape perception. Perception shapes behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes. This is systemic dominance, not brute force, not intimidation, structure. But understand this clearly, leverage without ethics becomes self-destruction. You are not building a fragile empire based on fear alone. Fear creates compliance, but respect creates durability. Your leverage is rooted in value, in capability, in reliability. People align with you not because they are terrified, but because alignment benefits them. Yet they also know that misalignment carries cost. That duality creates balance. Masculine stoicism stabilizes you here. With leverage comes temptation, the temptation to overreach, to humiliate, to dominate unnecessarily. You resist it. Power is most effective when applied minimally. A precise strike, not endless aggression. The less you use force, the more impactful it becomes when required. That restraint signals maturity. And mature power is far more intimidating than reckless aggression. Comment again, my power is controlled. Because uncontrolled power invites rebellion. Controlled power commands loyalty. As your leverage expands, you must also anticipate counter-moves. Competitors will study you. Former allies may attempt re-entry. Opportunists will test access. You respond with analysis, not emotion. Does this alignment strengthen the structure? Does this opportunity increase autonomy? Does this risk threaten long-term positioning? Every decision filters through strategic clarity. You are no longer driven by ego wounds. You are driven by architecture. Architecture of influence, architecture of leverage, architecture of sustainability. The empire mindset requires thinking several moves ahead. If I grant access today, what leverage do I lose tomorrow? If I share this information now, what control do I surrender later? If I tolerate this behavior once, what precedent do I establish? These are the questions rulers ask, and you must think like a ruler even if you stand alone, because standing alone is no longer isolation, it is independence, and independence, amplified by leverage, becomes dominance. There is a psychological shift that happens here. You stop fearing betrayal entirely. Why? Because betrayal now carries limited damage. Systems replace dependence, assets replace hope, structures replace emotion. If someone attempts to undermine you, you absorb the impact and adapt. The machine continues. That resilience is intimidating. People sense when a man cannot be easily destabilized, and instability is what most manipulators rely on. Remove instability and manipulation fails. This is the final evolution from wounded to formidable. You are no longer reacting to the past. You are positioning for the future. You are no longer asking who will stay loyal. You are ensuring that loyalty, when present, aligns with mutual interest and enforced standards. You are no longer hoping to be understood. You are focused on being effective. Effectiveness outlives opinion. Dominance outlives drama. Leverage outlives betrayal. And as this structure solidifies, something remarkable occurs. You feel calm, not tense, not paranoid. Calm. Because you know you can handle shifts. You know you can walk away. You know you can rebuild. That internal certainty is the ultimate dominance. It is not loud. It is not theatrical. It is stable, predictable in principle, unpredictable in tolerance. You have become the man who cannot be cornered because you always maintain options. You have become the man who cannot be manipulated because you understand incentives. You have become the man who cannot be broken by betrayal because your empire is built on structure, not sentiment. This is absolute leverage. This is controlled dominance. And this is how a man transforms abandonment into authority, isolation into influence, and betrayal into unshakable power. Number 9, the silent comeback. Let success speak. Now comes the phase that separates men who talk about power from men who embody it, the silent comeback. Not the loud announcement, not the dramatic reveal. Silence, precision, results. When you were betrayed, part of you wanted vindication. You wanted them to see what they lost. You wanted acknowledgement. That desire is natural, but it is also a trap. Because when your success is fueled by the need to be seen by those who doubted you, you are still orbiting them. And you no longer orbit anyone. You build, you ascend, you expand for yourself. The silent comeback is psychological warfare without a single aggressive word. It is discipline compounded over time until the contrast becomes undeniable. The same people who dismissed you begin hearing your name in rooms you never invited them into. The same voices that underestimated you begin recalculating. But here is the key. You do not chase that moment. You do not perform for it. You let inevitability unfold. Comment now. My results speak. Because that is your new language. Results, consistency, growth. The most intimidating form of dominance is quiet progression. No arguments, no online battles, no emotional outbursts, just visible evolution. Stronger body, sharper mind, broader network, higher income, greater composure. You become the man who does not need to remind anyone of his value. It is evident, and evidence silences critics more effectively than confrontation ever could. Machiavelli understood reputation as a strategic asset. Reputation is built slowly and destroyed quickly, so you guard it. You avoid petty disputes. You do not engage in gossip. You do not respond to every provocation. Every time you choose restraint over reaction, you strengthen your frame. Every time you channel energy into production instead of retaliation, you widen the gap between you and those who betrayed you. Masculine stoicism reinforces this posture. You do not celebrate prematurely. You do not reveal plans in their infancy. You allow progress to mature before exposure. There is power in surprise. There is dominance in understatement. When you re-emerge elevated, the impact is magnified precisely because you are not broadcasting every step. Dark psychology teaches that humans are deeply affected by contrast. The greater the gap between how they perceived you and what you become, the stronger the psychological shock. But you are not doing this to shock them. You are doing it to fortify yourself. The shock is a byproduct. Understand this clearly. Revenge is loud. Victory is quiet. Revenge screams, tries to humiliate, seeks applause. Victory nods once and continues forward. You choose victory because revenge keeps you emotionally tethered to the past. Victory detaches you completely. The silent comeback also requires patience. Impatience exposes insecurity. True growth compounds slowly. Months of discipline, years of calculated decisions, quiet mornings, focused nights, no audience, no validation, just execution. And then, one day, the scale tips. The business gains traction. The body reflects discipline. The confidence becomes unshakable. The network expands organically. People who once overlooked you begin reaching out, some with genuine respect, some with opportunistic curiosity. You evaluate all of them through your new framework, standards enforced, access earned, alignment verified. The difference now is that you are not seeking acceptance, you are selecting alignment. That shift is dominance. Comment again, I rise in silence. Because silence protects momentum, silence protects strategy, silence protects focus. The silent comeback is not about proving others wrong, it is about proving yourself disciplined enough to endure without applause, strong enough to evolve without support, strategic enough to wait without reacting. And once you internalize that your success does not require witnesses, you become unstoppable, because external noise loses its influence entirely. Criticism becomes irrelevant, praise becomes secondary. You are anchored in structure, anchored in routine, anchored in self-command. When the comeback is complete, you do not announce it. You simply exist at a higher level. And that existence is the message. Those who betrayed you may never admit their miscalculation. That is fine. Their recognition is not required. Your elevation is sufficient. This is the silent empire, built alone, reinforced by discipline, guarded by detachment, expanded by leverage, and revealed not through words, but through undeniable results. Number 10. The untouchable standard, your final evolution. This is the final transformation, not the comeback, not the revenge, not the dominance, the standard. Because once you reach this level, you are no longer reacting to betrayal, no longer proving anything, no longer building just to rise. You are maintaining a standard that reshapes every room you enter. The untouchable man is not untouchable because no one tries him. He is untouchable because nothing sticks. Criticism does not destabilize him. Praise does not inflate him. Loss does not collapse him. Gain does not distract him. He operates from a self-defined code so clear, so disciplined, that external chaos cannot penetrate it. This is where Machiavellian precision and masculine stoicism fully merge. You understand power dynamics instinctively now. You read motives quickly. You sense insecurity, ambition, envy, respect, all without needing words. But you are no longer obsessed with controlling others. You are committed to controlling yourself and structuring your environment accordingly. That is the difference between manipulation and mastery. Manipulation is reactive and short-term. Mastery is structural and enduring. Your standard governs your time. It governs who has access. It governs what you tolerate. It governs how you respond. There is no emotional debate behind your eyes anymore. Decisions are filtered through alignment. Does this strengthen the empire? Does this align with my principles? Does this protect long-term leverage? If not, it is eliminated without hesitation. Comment now, I am the standard. Because this is not about being better than them. It is about being consistent with yourself. The untouchable standard means you no longer bend to fit environments. Environments adjust to your presence. Conversations become sharper. Respect becomes automatic. Your calm becomes contagious. Why? Because consistency builds psychological gravity. People feel the steadiness. They sense the absence of desperation. They recognize that you are not chasing approval, validation, or clout. You are operating on a different frequency, one built on structure, self-command, and long-term positioning. And here is the truth most will never understand. The ultimate revenge against betrayal is indifference, not cold cruelty. Indifference born from elevation. When you no longer feel the need to revisit the wound, to retell the story, to replay the injustice, you have transcended it. Betrayal becomes a footnote in your origin story, not the headline. The empire stands, the leverage holds, the discipline remains, the detachment protects, the influence expands, the standard sustains. You wake up each day not to prove them wrong, but to execute your framework. You train because strength is your baseline. You strategize because foresight is your nature. You speak carefully because precision is your identity. You rest strategically because longevity is your objective. Every action reinforces the same message. You are self-governed, and self-governed men are extraordinarily difficult to control. That is untouchable. It is not isolation, it is sovereignty. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that no alliance defines you and no betrayal can dismantle you. You built alone. You refined alone. You enforced standards alone. And now you operate with selective alliances that complement, not complete, you. Before you leave, engrave this identity into yourself. Comment one final time. Untouchable by design. If this message sharpened you, strengthened you, challenged you, like the video, subscribe to Machiavellian Mode and turn on notifications. Because this is not motivation, this is transformation.